Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Serpent Ascension Smite League Lunar Division First Light Tournament Round 2. We got Grizzlies versus Golden Dragons. I'm your chair one, Berrytoppings. This is your chair two, Debo. Let's get into a roster breakdown. Do you know anything about these players, Debo?
Yeah, man. Barry, first of all, hello. SAL viewers, what's going on? Good to see you guys here. We're at like the midway point of the marathon of these kind of like long best of one tournaments. They could be a grueling grind for these players and all of our production. So shout out everybody working hard on these kinds of days. But yeah, honestly, I look at some of these teams, right? So Grizzlies just got done with a nice win in the first round over Nat 20. I know that's your team, right? So maybe you have a little bit more insider info than me. But those guys just had a nice win moving on to the second round, right? So they're in the groove, they're in the swing of things here. They've got some subs, they've got some guys that just played well in round one, right? Golden Dragons is a team that was lucky enough to get a nice draw in round one, as we're starting to see some of the bands come out now. But that's a team that's been on their grind, man. Timmy Turner and those guys, they've been on the grind, they've been scrimming, practicing, trying different roles. And I'm excited to see this kick off.
It should be a pretty good matchup, I think. So we're gonna start off with some bands here. Mordred, Xingqian, no surprise there. Both very oppressive gods, very top tier in that soul lane over there. Taking away both gods from Timmy and Gage. I know they both play those gods. Followed up by a Kepri band.
Yeah, the Kepri band's like a weird flex band. Never thought you'd say something like that, right? But I mean, this is kind of going how you normally see like drafts go these days, which is they're just getting rid of like OP tanks, OP meta abusing characters like Kepri. Wouldn't see if we see other like echo abusing gods, stuff like Merlin, stuff like Charon can be abused in some of this echo stuff. But they're going to keep the trend going with another tank, and it looks like three of the best tanks in the game combined with Kepri, who you'd think is a tank, but maybe not, taken off the board in the top four here.
Yeah, I think I'd really like to see some of those really strong mid laners go here. I know the junglers are still up. You got your Aladdin, your Dodgies, your Bastats are still up, but those AoE damage pesky mid laners that can spam the echo and the tentacles, I think are probably more of a prio for me personally at this point in the banning phase.
Yeah.
Because you got Clerical over there. I know he's got a pretty good jungle pool, so like maybe look at taking a Thor away here if you want to target ban or something. We're gonna see the
The
Agni.
Agni, yeah, Agni, yeah. I mean, that Agni's another one that can go in the light of like echo abusing, and they have an insta Afro band following up on that. So this kind of goes exactly like how you'd expect it to go, right? Be curious to see how like they snag a top pick here, but none of these gods are like unexpected to be banned in this first phase. It's all like you said, like you have a strong mid laner, and then your strong like tanks slash like echo abusing characters. This is like status quo so far as far as Smite 2 right now.
Going by formula, one would say.
Yeah.
Um, so we're gonna see a Bastet top pick. Ah, I like Bastet. I probably wouldn't take her top pick personally. Just too many counters to her. Um,
Kraken,
and I think too many counters to her, and there's other
Poseidon.
gods that I would prio over them. Followed up by Bracken Poseidon. Speaking of one of those Bastet counters.
Yeah. Speaking of the counters, right? I mean, yeah, you kind of nailed it. I mean, Kabrakan also a sneaky counter, right? I mean, with the amount of CC that he has, if he's on top of a Bastet when a Bastet goes in, combined with like a cripple
Artemis.
from Poseidon, that is problematic. So like that is a good response from the Grizzlies there. With Golden Dragon picking up Cuckoo, who's just a status quo solo laner, plug and play, and then an Artemis, which Artemis like slowly climbing the ranks of like that is one of the most broken characters in the game. You kind of have to hold her hand to level 30 or level 30, level 20, my god. Well, put it this way, it feels like she's playing at level 30 when you get her to level 20. We'll
Yeah,
leave it at that, right? So,
she's
uh
just got all the damage in the world at that
she has
point.
all the damage in the world, that is for sure. So like if you can get her there, hold her hand, get her to level 20, which kind of has a little bit to do with the support pick, which they have yet to lock in. That'll be interesting to see. They should
Sol.
go for a high pressure support to get her online
Mulan, reporting
with
for
some more picks coming
service.
out here.
And here we see the exact opposite. The Grizzlies are opting for a super early game pick to not let the Artemis get late game.
Yeah, which is
in this
also
offense.
like that's also like a totally viable strategy, right? Like, I
Merlin.
mean, sometimes the best like counter matchups can just be being ahead of your opponent, so that also works. I love the Merlin pick though. Merlin is one of these sneaky characters that you could do this Echo build on. Merlin's always really strong. When you get these 3 items online with Merlin now, I think he's probably the best mid laner in the game, or at least like one of the 3 best mid laners in the game. And I don't think he's talked about enough. So
Sovek.
like this is a crazy draft. And so far, that best step we talked about it. We were a little worried about that. I don't think it's been counterpicked enough, right? Like gods like Cupid, gods like Ardio. I know we have the Poseidon there, which can be obviously a little bit of a counter pick, but like I want to see a little bit more from the Grizzlies here in their draft to shut down that best step, because that's their top pick, right? So like when you see these top picks get selected and invested into, you want to see the other team kind of like shut it down right
Dodgy.
away. So
Dodgy's a pretty good counter to it though.
that'll do.
Um,
That'll
I
yeah,
like it.
that'll do. That'll do,
Eh,
Donkey.
But if we're going off comps here, I do got to give it to Golden Dragons. I like the Kakulin over the Mulan by a lot. Um, in your mid lane, both Poseidon and Merlin have really high damage output. You're just looking at the opposition of, are we looking for prolonged team fights or are we looking for quick burst? And whichever one's going to have relics in the better front line, I think is going to win that matchup. But you don't want a Merlin free casting, right? He's just going to tear your complete team apart. He's got crazy objective shred. Um, yeah, tentacles are going to go wild.
Tentacles are always going wild, man. You're right about that. And then also, Golden Dragons locked in a Sobek, which top 3 support in the game, always has been, probably always will be until something is like drastically changed about him, is really going to help that Artemis get online. Also, just a good continuity between those 2 characters in the duo lane. So like that's kind of what I was looking for, something that can help get that Artemis later. Merlin Bastet will be fine. I do like the Cuckoo matchup. I would say, is there anything weird here that pops out? It looks like it might be like a Kabrakan support. Am I reading too much into that, or is that definitely
Yeah,
what that is?
it's probably a Kabrakan support.
Yeah.
I would wager. Ironically, I think that if it was Mulan support, it would probably play better for what they're going for. But yeah, Kabrakan support. Buddy's on the Kabrakan.
He is on the Kabrakan, yeah. So, yeah, interesting. I know that shout out Double D's podcast, right? I couldn't wait that long. Kabrakan support is one of our Iron Man picks. If you guys don't know what that is, me and D's are just like gonna be shouting out people who won like a random god on a random roll, and Kabrakan was the support pick for the week. So I don't know if we've got a fan or what, but like that was one of the weird picks that got selected for support. So or Buddy just thinks that Kabrakan's a goaded support right now. Maybe who knows?
All right. Yeah. No. Buddy. Buddy likes his Kabrakan, and I get to give props where props are due. Buddy is a team player, and if it comes to him dying to get somebody out, he will do it without question and without thinking about it. Unless like it's one of those situations where maybe somebody jumps in between 3 people when they shouldn't be there and dies.
And that's what it's about, right? I mean, that's we're the Serpent Ascension League. We're developmental. We are learning. We're sometimes that's gonna happen. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with a little bit of inting.
Hey,
Um,
look, I live for the
Problems can always
inting,
be
man.
solved. Yes, absolutely. Live for the inting. So
But I think a lot of this game is gonna come down to, because let's just face it, Kakulin is one of the best solo laners in the game
mhm.
after those buffs. And if he's not one of the top 3, then I would make an argument for him being top 1 as far as like lane bully, lane pressure gods. Um, and I want to see how that gets matched up against that solo Mulan, and how
Yeah,
if they can transition that.
yeah. I mean, that Mulan build path is always interesting, right? Because I mean, you could be opting for like normal meta tank builds, or like sometimes you can see Mulan go like into straight damage. And that's really risky to do against a Kakulin, because Kakulins want to scrap and fight, and they have really good, like if you're managing your transformation well in that lane, like sometimes that you can catch someone and you can really early kill. Like I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a level 2 kill there. Also, when you look at like Soul Kabrak, and if they can get on top of a Sobek at like level 1 or level 2, like that's problematic for them. Like this is a game that if you looked at on paper, like there could totally be a level 1 or 2 kill here.
Yeah, I think, the jungle matchup's another interesting matchup. It's which one of these characters or characters, which one of these players can pilot their character better. Because Bastet got insane burst damage. Badaji, not to be slept on with her burst damage either, but has a lot more utility in her kit as well.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, honestly, with the Daji thing, right? So Daji, I think, has fallen into the realm of, like, I need my ultimate up or I can't fight, especially early. Like, and honestly, late too. So, like, across the board, like, if you don't have your Jotuns online and you're not level 5 as Daji, like, Daji has been nerfed so many times now. That character's damage, like in the early game, isn't enough to really write home about, to where that's a character you want with your ultimate up, and the cooldown on it is so brutal that like you need to like chill when it's not up. So we'll see how that goes.
One thing I'm noticing here, Debo, is Sypha opted for the aspect on Artemis, so she's not gonna have that trap for self heal.
Yeah, and like I could see a world in which like that's the better that is being like played, and I could see a world where that is the better thing to do. But I kind of want that with Sobek, right? Like there's such like between that pluck, right, and those tail whips, like it's really easy to kind of set up like a lot of those traps to where I think you do get prio. Now I think if you have something like a I don't know, any support with like less CC, right? Less predictable CC as well. You're not looking maybe you're looking maybe to play the aspect because you just aren't going to be able to get those traps and as much value out of them. But it's interesting. You've seen like I think it's a kind of 50-50 right now.
Yeah, I think she's really gonna be feeling it if this Cabrakan gets on top of her with the double stuns and stuff. We're gonna see the soul lane, first blood, kick Cullen into the Milan. And that's really what I was worried about, right? Was seeing can this person match up against this person and how well do they know that matchup. Milan typically has that early game bully about her too, but she's no big rage monster.
She's no big rage monster, and it's honestly tough because she is looking to fight 90% of the time. And if you get someone, and it looks like, MZ did a good job of managing the rage and the transformation going into lane, and if you can do that, it turns you into a stance switcher. You're literally a stance switcher. You have more like tools at your disposal than someone like a Mulan does at level 2, level 3. Like they're gonna come right back here, look for the same thing, and they're just gonna start bullying them out and poking them out here. And that's the thing, is like there's such a high skill ceiling on these gods that if you can manage that rage well over there, it neutralizes a pressure pick like Mulan, who doesn't want to sit here and have to play like this, but now they have to, and as they're going to get another kill here.
Yeah. One thing I will say is, if Mulan goes Shell instead of this Sunder, her trades are 1000% better. We're gonna see a gank over here. The Daji's coming through. I don't think there's anything she can do though. Like we should just be setting up for Firebrands and looking to play for them. The Milan's poked out. They just need to reset. Yeah, you're gonna see just a numbers game here. They should get that. Unless we can get a seal from this Poseidon. But yeah, we just back off here. We're not looking to fight. There comes the beads. We trade Kraken for beads. That's pretty good.
It is good. Yeah, I mean, get out of there with that farm. We're definitely being like a little bit greedy there. The levels are also like really brutal right now. Like Bastet needs to just like get to farming. We were level 3 at rocks there. So we want to like keep it moving, like get in there, get out, like you were getting at. Like we don't want to be spending too much. When we know we're behind, even though we had a little bit of pressure like that, we just want to keep it moving, right? Like we want to get here. It's good that we're here. We're organized. Like probably spending a little bit too much time like looking for that gank and right. Like just go take the farm, get out of there, keep it moving. But I mean, no harm, no foul for now.
Yeah, speaking of the Bastet, I did notice that she opted to do the yellow side start at the beginning of the game instead of doing the scorpion start. And I was saying this earlier when I was casting some seller games, and there was a guy who was just not doing his back scorpion, which is your jungler's kind of bread and butter farm right now, and it was constantly being invaded. So yeah, I would like to see that cleaned up a little bit, because again, this is a character that wants to snowball. You want to get your farm, you want to get kills, you want to get to bursting people, and you don't want to be on the back foot as a Bastet.
Yeah,
especially
you
in
definitely want to
competition.
get to you definitely want to get to bursting people. You really need these items online. I mean, any character, right? But like any character needs these items online. Sobek hits a wall, but that's okay. I've done that plenty of times before. I actually just did it earlier today. So, respect for effort there.
Now freeze.
But you do see a very slight gold lead in favor of Golden Dragons here. I want to see if we can transition this duo lane, right? I want to see, say, if Krakenult comes out, Dodgy's waiting too long to do anything there.
Force the
Unfortunate.
shell. Yeah, they get a shell out of the Sobek, so it winds up being like something. It's like, and now it's all about, right? Like when we're talking about like what was that for, right? What do we do now? Like we got a shell out of Sobek. We use a Cabracanal, and we're still kind of just like lingering here, and you're relying on the other team to make a mistake. Now they might make the mistake by stepping up right here, and they're gonna pull more
We get
stuff
two
out of them.
ults. We get two
Yeah,
ults for Dodgy
they,
ult. That's pretty good.
they do get something. The patience paid off there, for sure. But you want to be asking yourself that question, right? Of like, why am I here, right? Am I here for the kill? Am I here to leverage something? Do I want an objective? Sometimes you want to be there for something to leverage, right? You don't always want to be there for the kill, right? The kill is secondary a lot of the time.
Right.
That's what you'll hear better players talk about, right? It's like we're here to get something, pull an objective.
We're gonna see a Kraken come out, take a Spastet down though. Good plays. We like to see it.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. And that's like it feels bad too. Like we were already behind a little bit there. Another death kind of like stops us from farming the way that we want to be farming. Yeah, so but not enough for like a Gold Fury pull or anything like that yet. The tempo's pretty slow in this game. It's an early lead over there for the Dragons, but nothing quite yet. The mid objective will be probably the first thing like leveraged between the two teams here in a minute. And then maybe like off of pushers or something like that, something will happen with gold.
Alternatively, something we could see is we know the Shell's down on duo. We know their ults are down. We could look at a gank over there and go for an early Gold Fury pressure and just see what happens. But, right now, I think everybody's just content farming. That little bit of a gold lead is basically gone at this point. You're going to see a Bastat gank come out here, but Mulan got the ultimate off. Should be okay. Unless they do the scary movie thing where they turn around and try to fight and look back and stuff.
Yeah, some cross map play over there. It looks like Gold Fury is going to be picked up. So we put pressure in right. The other team's going to respond. That's the kind of stuff you like to see, right? Like they're going to hop right onto the Gold Fury once their jungler shows up on the other side of the map. Mulan plays safe, and now actually they turn over there as well. They didn't actually wind up pulling the Gold Fury. They wind up just like sort of rotating over to this. So I mean, whatever works, right? I mean, Mulan was able to get out of there. They're able to respond and put numbers in response to that initial gank, and they wind up pulling something out of it. So good for them.
Yeah, pulling another kill off on this Bastet, getting her even further behind. But it's important to note that you are not actually ahead until you back and spend that gold.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yep. You could definitely have some golden pocket. That changes the math a little bit on some of these early kills for sure. Kraken comes out.
Yeah, we crack in a little bit late there. The Merlin flickers away. But you gotta try it. Gotta try to go for it. Even if you're not getting a kill, if you're pulling relics, you're pulling abilities, you're pressuring people out, you can do something with that, right? We're gonna see Bastet come out. She's gonna get a solo kill.
It's a big kill.
And that's another thing. You don't want to be caught out trying to invade, right? Bastet might be down, but she's still got that burst damage. She's still got that burst damage, and we're Dodgy without ult.
Yep.
We're gonna get a solo kill over here on the Mulan and to the Kakulin though. You definitely want to see that, considering the start that they had. Now these guys are tit for tat. Mulan's a little bit ahead now. Level-wise, Kakulin gets to spin that gold. Mulan hasn't back to spin the gold, so he will have a slight advantage when it comes to the fight. Bastet getting a successful gank off on duo lane. If you're Golden Dragons, you're very happy about that.
Yeah, and this is the kind of stuff that I was more accustomed to seeing from Clerical too. I've been spectating a lot of their guys' scrims over there for the Dragons, and Clerical has been popping off in their scrims. Like he has been playing really well, He's eager to get coaching. He's eager to get better at the game, and he has been farming. And then he kind of started off slow this game, like the farming, like you said, like the start, maybe it was a little bit like something they hadn't practiced before, or who knows, right? But he's picked it up here, got a solo kill, turned it into an immediate gank, and is back like in charge of this game here as another Kraken comes out on Sobek, forces ult.
We
They
dumped.
might be able to have this, yeah.
Okay, we got a beads, but we're gonna get a rotation here. I think we overcommitted the Sobek here,
Yeah.
but you know that's gonna be good for the Golden Dragons. You got Bastet rotating in here. She's got eyes. Firebrands are up, so we could see a potential fight there, or we're gonna chase them to the jungle. That works too.
Oh yeah, we're chasing them into the jungle. No questions asked. We're looking for them at their red buff. Absolutely, that's the play here. Now, who knows? But I mean, they're looking aggressively. They're looking together. Maybe not necessarily on the same targets, but
Yeah, the split there was a little rough. Kraken comes out. Merlin's got no beads. Would have been a good target had everybody been on the same page. We're gonna see a potential collapse on the Bastet here, though. All right, she's got that leap. Don't overcommit for it, guys.
yeah, I think she's good here. I don't think there's going to be any turnaround. But Lord knows the entire lobby is going to show up to this, so maybe there is a turnaround. Colin's going to do a nice job of stalling here and see if Merlin is enough damage online. Not quite yet, but Bastet's got that ultimate back up, so she dives tower and they turn it again. That's the second or third time we've seen a gank where that it started by one team and it's ended poorly for that team when numbers have rotated back in.
Speaking of ending poorly, there's a Poseidon here now.
There is a Poseidon.
So we're gonna see more fighting over here. I think this fighting would be better directed if we're getting attention solo side, guys. This is Smite 101 for anyone who doesn't know. If you're getting attention solo side
To hide.
and you've got pressure in dual lane, go to the Gold Fury. Pull it. That objective is going to be better than any kill that you're going to get on the other side of the map, unless it's like a 6-0 shutdown kill.
That is
And then
correct.
transition that.
Equal and opposite is typically how the map is played, right? When you look at that beautiful map in your top right-hand corner, if your jungler pops up on the right side of the map, sometimes the play is to go to the left side of the map and play where you have numbers as opposed to going for a response. Because sometimes being early somewhere else is better than being late. But maybe I'm wrong because that's not what's actually going well here for some of these teams who've seen good responses.
We like to fight, right? We like to fight.
We do love to fight. We do love to fight in Lunar. We love to fight in Solar. We love to fight everywhere. I mean, it's a combat game at the end of the day, right? So we do love to fight. I would say that, you know, some of the biggest differences that I like to see is when teams choose to fight over something, like right here, right? So there's scrapping going on. There's abilities like going out, but it was over something, right? Like those oracles matter. They mean something. They're going to give you vision control on gold, which is absolutely in play at 12 and a half minutes, right? Like that matters to fight over that, right? Whereas opposed to some of those ganks in right lane, you look and you're like, well, nothing's really here, right? At the end of the day, it's like we might kill someone, we might not kill someone, but if we don't, there's nothing going on, and we're still kind of, you know, looking for some more plucks here in mid, and the plucks are on point, but you know, what's the next thing on the map here? What are we looking to grab off of this aggression?
Yeah, and you know, I think that's the name of the game at this point, especially right here where you're seeing the jungles group up and, you know, they're bopping each other a little bit. Right now, if I'm in this game, I need my solo laner to communicate to me, you know, are they getting ganked? How frequently are they getting ganked? And can I make a play elsewhere? Big Kraken comes out. Poseidon's gonna die for it though. A little unfortunate there. That damage just a little too much, and I don't think we had a shell for it. So no, yeah, we didn't have a shell for it. So it is what it is. But you know, and now what I would like to see Golden Dragons do here is you got a big pick there. The Poseidon is a big pick. We need to go directly to an objective from that. Trust your front line to do their job while your carriers can do their job.
And while it's not an objective that like many people would necessarily think, I do like them going and grabbing the solo laner and just doing the rocks there, right?
It's safe, right?
It's safe, and to be honest with you, and I always tell people this, an objective is whatever you make it. right? So oracles can be an objective if you choose to put people at it, right? Rocks are an objective if you choose to put people at it. It doesn't matter. It is whatever it's whatever you make it, right? So it doesn't have to be this flashy Gold Fury kill after a Poseidon pick. It can just simply be, we're not ready for that yet. We got the clean pick. I'm going to grab my solo laner who's got some pressure on this wave, and we're going to go do rocks for free. And now the next time it happens, perhaps we leverage it into something bigger when we're a little bit stronger late in the game. So smaller victories like we just saw there, I love seeing, because that's the name of the game as we all continue to get better at Smite. It's not always a kill Gold Fury, kill Fire Giant. Sometimes it's just get a relic, get something from these guys, and take neutral farm or look for an invade.
But I will say, I do think Golden Dragons, it was a little bit sloppy for them earlier, right? But they've definitely collected themselves and are playing much better and much cleaner now. And that's showing in these team fights. Their target selection is better. They're playing together better than the Grizzlies are at this moment. And I think, just a little bit further of a push. We see this Queen Naga's up. They're posturing for it. We're probably looking at for a pick here to go for this objective. But they're gonna get that's a good move, disengaging there. A lot of teams would have just overcommitted there and tried to fight anyway. And just because they're down a little bit, they're only down. Grizzlies are only down what, about 1,000 gold here, 900, 1,000 gold, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So they still have the potential to really pop off in these team fights between the Kraken Wall and the Kraken and the Daiji ult.
Now, as you take a look at your map here, the first piece on the chessboard is moved over, so we've brought Artemis over into this here, so they're just going to have Prio in this, so something's going to break out here.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to see a big fight here. Staying on the objective all the while we're fighting is a good call. So no one dead quite yet. We're going to see the Bastet fall to the Mulan. We're going to see the Poseidon fall to the Sobek. Big Mulan ult there, though. Could be looking for more. Yeah, okay, so that's awesome. That's a good pick you want. You want that Merlin dead. And then we're going to trade out the Dodgy here. We're just trading back and forth and back and forth. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Now Grizzlies has a slight lead. We're going to chase them down while Artemis is here in the jungle. She can rotate in and get a big rotation.
Yeah, it looks
here
like
it comes.
Yep, there's the Artemis ult coming out here. Let's see what they can do off of it. They're looking for the Kraken. We'll see if it's enough. Sobek might be able to pluck him back in and look for something. They're going to choose to not do that and at least get the mid pressure for that. And they will clean up Mulan there, so that's something. And it looks like they're going to have Prio on the mid objective here. So a lot happened. a lot happened.
Very quickly.
Yeah. A lot happened. And also, not to be outdone as the fighting is still going on, Soul just split push 2 towers there, which is kind of feels bad. Because she just got a ton and then comes in and picks up a kill, so that's kind of tough, and that's kind of out of
Bastet coming out, coming out. Bastet low. They're gonna chase her down. Yeah, so Saul coming down, getting a double kill after split pushing 2 towers. That's crazy. That is that Smite Big Brain or is that luck? Who cares? It happened, right? We're gonna transition it directly into a gold pool.
Yeah. And it was a worthwhile rotation for the Artemis. I mean, the Artemis went over there, didn't die, helps with the objective. They get lane pushers and stuff like that coming out, and it was a part of a couple of assists there and stuff. So it wasn't a bad rotation from Artemis. I actually liked the eagerness as this Gold Fury is getting dropped in low, and everything was going to get dumped on the Gold Fury and Sobek.
Sobek going to pay for his sins of his father here.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, when Artemis rotated in there, she ulted. It was a good rotation, right? It's a good ult, it's a good engage, but it's the tanks, so it's gonna be a slow burn. She doesn't have any pin in her build yet. No execution or nothing like that quite built yet. And it looks like she's going into a Berserker shield here too, so that's gonna come a little bit later.
Yeah, and this is the point in the game where you're looking at these power spikes, right? So you're looking at levels, you're looking at items. I kind of prematurely said that this Merlin was going to be looking for this Echo build. We're actually going back to the patch build from like a few patches ago, and we're doing the Bluestone, which is still an effective build. It's still completely fine, especially because we're probably going to see like echo nerfs throughout the next couple of weeks and stuff like that. So like it's completely fine to be doing this. But you know, we're starting to slowly get online. You know, there's a couple of kills on Bastet there that we're at 3 items, and Daji's starting to, you know, spend a little bit more and get, even though we're down a level in the jungle. So the game like kind of slows down here. It's still very, very close to even, but the Grizzlies did look like they had like more objective sort of work done, and they're picking up a few extra kills here. As Mulan,
Yeah, Mulan gonna go down here.
Yeah, for the Grizzlies.
So not the end of the world though. I mean, she's out of position. She's pushed up. Get a pick on her. Why not, right? But I think really what we're looking for here now. You notice this map is lit up like a Christmas tree right now too. Look at all the wards. So
Yeah.
both teams are aware of what's at stake at this point in the game, because now we're looking at, you know, whoever wins a team fight could potentially pull a fire giant. We could fight over this pyromancer. Ults up. You know, you've got your team fight ults up. You've got your dodgy ult. You got your kraken. Meanwhile, you know, your Bastet ult and your big Kakolan ult are down. So if you wanted to make a play on the map, now would kind of be the time where your damage dealers have the advantage.
And also too, like that split push freed Soul to kind of come do what she's been doing here. But I don't like the tempo that the Grizzlies are playing at with here. They should really, like, when you choose to move that piece on the chessboard, like I said earlier, this is it right here. If we had done that about 45 seconds ago instead of looking for something in solo lane, it would feel so much better for your team, right? Because we've got Artemis on the other side of the map. We know she's never coming to this fight. Bring Soul over. There's nothing for her to do over there in the duo lane, and just start picking objectives up, right?
Yeah,
like
just
we've
start
got
picking 'em
items
up,
online,
burn 'em down.
and just start ripping them and make the Artemis feel terrible for not being there. We did eventually get to it, so that's a W. But I think we want to be doing that off rip because we're looking for 5v4s, man. I like fighting in 5v4s when I'm the 5, right? I don't think anyone doesn't like that. So when you've got numbers and you can see someone on the map, always force the issue.
Speaking of numbers, look at those Merlin numbers. Just throwing circles out, doing numbers.
Yeah.
So, you know, so they're gonna get out of here, but there's a Kraken. There's a, you know, and we take down a Crocodile. We're gonna get walled off here. Bastet gonna jump in, looking to get some damage off. Doesn't quite collect on the heads of anybody here, but they're gonna chase them down. There's still potential here. You're gonna Bastet beads are pulled. Now okay, we're still chasing. We're still chasing. Probably don't dive a tier 2 here.
We don't dive a tier 2, but I'll tell you what, the tier 1's not safe though. I think they're biding time to get this Gold Fury pulled. They've got an advantage for a little bit. They're gonna choose a back and then maybe hustle over to the Gold Fury. And that's completely fine. I think that the thing that you like to see there is that we're all in unison, right? So two people called that they had to back, and then the rest of the team, look at them. They're backing up, right? Poseidon's not trying to get greedy. Mulan's not trying to get greedy. We're just keeping eyes on the map. We're chilling. We're looking for an advantage. Yes, the other team is alive now, but we're winning the fights, right? So as long as they're grouped and organized here, even though the other team's pulling gold, this is still really good for the Grizzlies if they just get here.
Yeah, this is good. Like, you actually want this position in the Grizzlies. Your Poseidon ults come back up. Your Poseidon's got a Nimble Ring online now. The fights are looking good for you, especially when you can pin down a Kakolan like that. You know, maybe got a little too big on the britches there, thinking that they're going to Rage Monster ball on somebody, and the Grizzlies immediately pick the Gold Fury back up. We've still got Kraken for secure if we need it, but I don't think we need to. A little early on it. Dodgy ult going to come out. We could see another pick here, and we do. Yep, Bastet goes down. And now this is where you can really start transitioning this lead. You're starting to get to the point to where, you know, we're in that 4 or 5K range where you can start pulling objectives in people's faces and make them come to you. And if they don't, you get a free objective, right? Not a huge fan of what's happening right here, so I can get a little greedy.
Oh my, this is deep. This is deep, and I don't think we're gonna catch.
Taki's going for it. He's going for it.
Oh, we walked into the tower. Oh no, that's unfortunate. Well, maybe he saw the vision there the entire time. Who knows? But Fire Giant gets picked up here, so there's gonna be a fight over it too. This isn't gonna go uncontested quite yet.
No, but we got more people in the fray here. Bastet's coming up. Kakolan's coming up. Dodgy from behind. Good positioning there.
Hi, Merlin.
Yep. good positioning by the Dodgy, for sure. We're going to see the Fire Giant continue to be leashed. Cullen is trying to get in there. He's going for it. Kraken comes out. Croc goes down. And the Bastet goes down too. Yeah, see, this is where we're funneling in, not what you want to see. But, you know, I applaud them for the effort. I applaud them for, you know, knowing what's going on and being aware enough to try to do something about it, right? And that can go a long way. You just don't want to get ahead of yourself. You don't want to keep doing that and funneling in and dying over and over again, because that's how you get so far behind that you can't do anything about an objective being pulled in front of your face.
Yeah, one of the terms that I like to use is you like to draw a line in the sand somewhere, right? So I think funneling in and trying to throw your body at things can work. It just needs to be at something that like is actually a turning point, because like you said, if it goes horribly, like it just did, it needs to be like, well, that was worth fighting over, right? So when we did it for the Gold Fury and Cullen kind of went in and started that fight, and then Bastet went in when we were all starting to back up after the Cullen death, it's like, we didn't need to do that. And it's a second Gold Fury. That doesn't mean enough for a game to really swing or anything like that. The Fire Giant's cool. If we had sort of saved our lives and done it over there, like, that's totally fine. That's something that can swing the entire momentum of the game. And it's, you can ration with yourself at the end of the day, hey, we fought over something that was worth fighting over. When you're down 4 or 5K and you're kind of disorganized after that like first pick at the gold, it's okay to just leave, right? Like, you can survive one mistake. It's so often you'll see the second and third mistakes is where you can't survive, and that's exactly what happened right here, right? So that Cullen dies at the Gold Fury, and then like we can go and survive the next thing, but we just made another mistake after that, and then it becomes close to unplayable.
And this at this point in the game, where you have that 8,000 gold lead, that 9,000 gold lead, it's really, really hard to do anything when you just have 5 people running at you. Your tank doesn't matter. They've got Fire Giant, they're 5 stack. They have a massive gold lead. And if you're the Golden Dragons here, and I've said this probably 1,000 times today about other teams in a similar situation, you've got to be looking for the small wins, like what this Artemis was doing. What was she doing while that was going on, right?
Split pushing.
Split
Yep.
pushing. And you take those small wins and those small wins and those small wins, and eventually they're going to get you back even, or you're going to force the other team to try to siege into a precarious situation and try to take advantage of that. And believe me, I'm pretty sure everybody's been at this point where you've got a massive lead and you're just like, you know, screw it, I'm going for this Phoenix. And then it goes horribly wrong.
Yep. And it boils down to kind of what I was talking about, right? Like, you need to, as a team, you want your communication here to sound like, where are we digging our toes in? Where is this sand going to be, a line in the sand going to be drawn? And clearly, you know, when you choose to split the Artemis, which I totally agree with you, man. Great decision by Cypher there to split push, and you want to play the opposite side of the map, because we're never defending that tier 2 tower over there. But all the while that Artemis was split pushing, we were losing Sobek ult, we were losing beads, we were losing other ultimates and abilities, defending at T2, or at least hovering around a T2, that we never are able to defend, right? So when you're in this kind of a position, which sucks to be in this kind of a position when you're down 10K at this point, right? You need to draw one last stance, right? Like, where are we going to do it? And it needs to be where all of our resources get put, right? Like, this is kind of more of the same, where you start to see, like, we're not even under a tower here as 2 people fall.
Debo, I don't mean to cut you off here, but you could potentially be looking at game ending here. If you're Grizzlies, you've got a pretty big lead. You just took down their best hope of defense. Artemis pumping out numbers. Now we're seeing that late game damage. Cullen's gonna go down. We're gonna play a little bit safe here. Bracken, all right. Kitty cat dead. You know, screw everything I said and just go for the end, guys.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah, and again, this is the kind of loss that, you know, if the Titan does fall here, which it looks like it's probably going to, that you just don't like to see, because we just couldn't get back under our structures here in time to defend anything as a team.
And I think that boils down to communication, right? So it's not the end of the world. It was a good showing by the Dragons at the end of the day, right? It was pretty back and forth there for a while, and we took we took a little bit of a bad fight here, a little bit of a bad fight there, maybe didn't communicate properly on engages, and then stuff happened. But when you've got your ADC split pushing, your team needs to be talking, hey, this tier 2 is dead. We need to group up, we need to hold, we need to maybe wait for them to come to us, pull a relic, call it a day. But I want to shout out to the Dragons again. It was a good showing by them. I don't think that anybody played poorly. I think that it was maybe just not being on the same page at certain times during the game. But at the end of the day, it's a Grizzlies dub, and I like to see it.
For sure, man. Yeah, I kind of want to. I'm looking at this. I kind of want to shout out, like, one of the things I was mentioning about the Daji before the game started was we look at a 1, 2, and 13 from the Daji, 12k damage, and that is so like, oh, what are we doing? That's what you're supposed to do, man. Some of those flanks late in the game were really clutch. Like, I know you pointed them out when they were happening in real time. Like, that's what you're supposed to do when you're on a character that is like kind of falling into a place where you're a little bit of an ult bot. Like, that's what you want to be doing, right? Like, we didn't take any stupid engages. We played when we were strong, and we played around what we were strong in mid too. We played around the Kraken engages. The Krakens were every time Kraken engaged, Kraken, right? Sometimes in that early game it wasn't happening, but you started to see as they gained a little bit of a lead on the map, there was kills. Like, Sobek wasn't surviving those engages from them past the 15-20 minute marker, and they had them down. The repetition of it was down because they've been doing it the entire game. They knew exactly what they wanted to do going into that game with that combo.
Yeah, and I'll circle back around that too, to like damage numbers, and especially when you look at like lower division players, they really think that the bigger my damage number is, the better I did. And that's not necessarily true, because you can have 15,000 player damage as a jungle and be more impactful than someone who's got 25,000. It all matters what you're doing with your damage, not the fact that you have damage.
For sure, man. I agree.
All right. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap it up here. Again, I've been Berrytoppings. This has been Devo. And a shout out to Philo over here on the production, working the camera as well. And we'll catch you in the next one.
See ya.